man's purpose is to chase women.
I think we exist because God created us because he was lonely.
In the U.S., in the Americas, we contend that God is an illegal alien.
Let's be practical. Let's be realistic.
The reason we're here on this planet is to eat good barbecue.
In the beginning, there was just God. So God made man in his own image, a little image that is. Man asked God, "My God, how great art thou?" And to show man his great power, they played a game. Sonny, I'll play the part of man.
Think for a moment. Was humanity placed on earth by all-wise Creator as a part of a master plan? Think again. What could be more important to understand than the purpose for humanity's existence? Join me in a radical approach, searching for some radical answers.
So many people have so many different and conflicting opinions, and we're all bombarded with opinions night and day from television and radio and friends and professors, and everyone we encounter has different information or different truths even. So who's right?
I do not claim to know the answer. In fact, I have more questions than answers. Why atheists refuse to know? Why cynics scoff at the possibility of knowing? And why theologians systematically offer counterfeit devices? And finally, is there a creator's master plan?
There's no concept of a God, an almighty. Gradually through Christianization, we hear Native peoples talk about, a sole creator or a singular God. And some of them may have some concepts of creation, of a creator, but only in the context of a worldview that's tied to the earth. A worldview of Euro-Americans that the earth is only a temporary living space, that someday they're going to move on to this gated community, somewhere in the heavens, provides no incentive to protect, where we live.
One of the key things that fundamentally in this conversation that will shift people's thinking is, and this goes back to the universe as being either dead or alive. And so often when I speak with people that want to be realistic, let's be practical, let's be realistic. Basically they're saying, well, we live in a dead universe and essentially there's nothing much going on except a few live beings like ourselves. And so let's exploit the deadness on behalf of the living and ourselves. And so it creates an exploitive mindset. As soon as we look at the universe as dead, the first response is, well, let's exploit it for those that are alive. And on the other hand, if we say, well, look, it's a living system that we're a part of, well, then you want to take care of it, you want to connect with it, you want to be a part of that dance of aliveness. It just fundamentally shifts the whole equation of who we think we are and what we're doing here.
2, 1. Booster ignition and the final liftoff of Discovery. A tribute to the dedication, hard work, and pride of America's Space Shuttle team. The shuttle has cleared the tower.
Suppose I tell you, the only sure way to know if the Earth is round is for yourself to find out. I am sure you will argue by saying, in the 16th century, Galileo did just that. And today, the Earth's shape is clearly seen from the outer space. The question, therefore, were scientists of all time, including Galileo, born with such knowledge? Of course not, because we are all born clueless. We simply live and we learn from our experiences.
This life is a work in progress. We're not the same any day, no two people. Health, exposure, education, knowledge, so we change. But if I love utter tranquility, inner peace, with no description, then I love meditation, which takes me to another realm, beyond space and time. That is why we need always to think in terms of the two-folded consciousness. I am conscious of my loving this food or this person or this house or clothes, but this is a limited consciousness, and it will change. And it is confined and it is conditioned, which is only, in fact, this limited consciousness of individuality, I and you and he, and is a stream emanating from pure consciousness, God consciousness, taqwa consciousness. So the more this limited consciousness refers to the higher consciousness, the more it is durable.
I want a world where no one alive can remember what the word war means. A world free of violence and injustice, where everyone is equal.
Batch is both a medical doctor and a clown. He's the real person behind the hit movie Batch Adams, starring Robin Williams. Batch is the founder and director of the Gesundheit Institute, a holistic medical community that has provided free medical care to thousands of patients since it began in 1971.
7,000 years ago, men chose to worship money and power over. This is why no political system works. No political system, because the value system is money and power over. This is our God. The God of the West, the God of the East.
And it's a very destructive concept. It's a very destructive spiritual understanding. And I think that in terms of what differs from, what makes a native paradigm different from a Euro-American paradigm, that is at the crux. You know, that whole concept of a spiritual understanding. How do we create that change in the dominant society at a level where massive change will happen in a very short period of time, is what we're confronted with today.
Every major transformation that's happened on the planet, from hunter-gatherers to farmers to industrialists, and now our current one, has involved this subtle, almost invisible shift to perception.
I was a whole systems thinker. What I wanted to do was to create a hospital that addressed every single problem of healthcare delivery in one model. When I graduated in '71, no one gave us a hospital, so 20 adults, 3 of us physicians, and our children moved into a large 6-bedroom house and said we were a hospital. We were open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for all manner of medical problems from birth to death. In the 12-year pilot, we had 500 to 1,000 people in our home each month, with 5 to 50 overnight guests a night. Never in our 40-year history have we charged money for anything. In fact, we wanted to eliminate the idea of debt in the medical interaction. We never wanted people to think they owed something. We wanted them to be excited that they belonged.
You could have the best of intention, yet you don't succeed. In the universal scheme of things, you are not yet ready. You need more of life's ups and downs. You are to be reshaped and remolded several times over. There are no bad experiences, even your most nightmare one.
I was beaten up every day my last 2 years in high school. And then I wanted to kill myself. I didn't want to live in a world of violence and injustice. So 3 times in 1 year, I was hospitalized for this desire to die. And then, who knows, lightning hits me and says, stupid, you don't kill yourself, you make revolution. So at the age of 18, I began a revolution for loving, and it was easy to do because my mother gave me self-esteem.
Nothing is given to man on earth except a potential and a material on which to actualize it. Right, Ayn Rand. The potential is a superlative machine, your consciousness. But it is a machine without a spark plug, a machine of which your own will has to be the spark plug, the self-starter and the driver. It is up to you to discover how to use it. The material is the whole of the universe, with no limits to the knowledge you can acquire or the enjoyment of life you can achieve.
Let me see. He's not. He's not gonna lead him. So what's happening?
Would my grandson become a pianist, astronaut, or a doctor, Democrat or Republican? Regardless of what I may wish for my grandson to become, eventually his future life's choices will shape the person he would become. I am hopeful what we teach him today helps him tomorrow discovering his own superlative moral compass.
I live in paradise with my friends, doing work for love. I live in a planet that for me is paradise. But I am aware that if we don't change to a loving world, there is no hope for human survival. Today, 30,000 children will die of starvation. And tomorrow, and this is not interesting, football is interesting. Hair is interesting. Shoes are interesting. But hungry children, not interesting.
So what is the purpose for my existence? Simply put, it is the potential for the discovery of my own superlative moral compass. Therefore, witnessing for myself the undeniable truths of being human, living as a mere speck within an endless universe, seeking to know the Creator behind it all. On the other hand, I could be wasting a lifetime, swayed into life's illusion of grandeur. You may call it the burden of proof for being born with the free will to choose.
We have that evolutionary push in us to survive, to grow, to be powerful, to dominate, to conquer, like a lion, like a monkey. But equally, the Adamic rise, which may have happened 100, 200,000 years ago, brought something else to that, if you like, survivalist, evolutionarist type of a being, coasting along, just eating, sleeping, and then dying. That is the Adamic rise. And that is the frontal lobe. That is where the Quran also says, فَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ. That is where these energies called compassion, patience, love, all of these are within this frontal lobe. It didn't exist before.
Every wise man lives in observatory, said the Hare brothers in 1827. It must be true. Just look around. Why would bees return to their hives day after day, generation after generation, making honey in the same way they did 1,000 years ago? How did bird know when and how to fly south? And many other instinctive behavior by animals and plants. As marvelous as is this instinctive capability, it is insignificant in comparison to the capacity and power of human intellect.
We are very much, in a way, affected by our brain. And the brain is an event system, which is based on, again, on physics and chemistry. So if we understand that, then we understand the subtler lights behind it. Same thing in terms of what happens in higher consciousness, beyond normal consciousness, which we all love. We all want to be in a state that is, if you like, bliss. Now, in the sense of nuclear physics, we have a very clear indication of, for example, that the entire system is based on uncertainty. We can never be certain of the position of the electron and its potential or its energy at the same time. So it's one or the other. And we will influence it by measuring it. So if the foundation of existence is based on a situation that is not solid, or if you like, this is the building block of life, which was easy 100 years ago, believing in that the atom is like a little brick and everything else. There's no such thing. Subtler energies, quarks, and subtler and endless. Now, if the foundation of all of what we consider as our universe is not perceivable, understandable by our brain, it implies that it belongs to another system of consciousness. And that system of consciousness, in a way, is our origin, because we are yearning for it. Therefore, I think religion and, for example, nuclear physics and astrophysics are going to be more and more higher religion, spiritual religion, more and more resonating together.
Throughout the ages, man has acquired a great deal of knowledge, because such knowledge provides a greater understanding about the purpose for our existence. How about our knowledge of the Earth's outer shape? We know it is round. Could we use such knowledge to acquire understanding about why do we exist? Consider this radical approach. Imagine two driving teams exploring the Earth's shape. One team drive north, the other drive south. Now, if the teams stay the driving course, the conclusion should be obvious. Because the Earth is round, each team should end back at the same starting point. But would they? Would they make the right choices to stay the course?
What makes me go for this and that and not for the other? I begin to discover really I am totally caught in the quest of passionate love of that which never ever changes. In fact, a good definition of religion is that it is the human endeavor for that which lasts. It's a good definition. So all of us, we are passionately seeking that which lasts. Now, the representative of that which lasts, Allah Azza wa Jal, God, is in you. So that is who I really am. Therefore, why would I be scared of leaving body or the prison which has been carried by it behind? Once I've discovered fully that in truth, my essence, my origin, the light in my heart has no beginning and no end and is not subject to time, I am relieved from this fear. Now, the fear of God has been put in us by nature so as we don't destroy the body too early. So as we care for it. So I identify with my body. This is a lovely body and we all put up. so as I can carry on. Otherwise, everybody will jump from everywhere, and this, extreme sports will destroy half of the world population. But since I love this body, this is me looking in the mirror. What about looking in the mirror of your heart? That will tell you the real you is light. And it is through that light that you begin to discover the shadow. And this shadow has been there in order for you to discover the light. End of story.
Imagine again, if you will, years pass by during which our driving teams had confronted the ups and downs of everyday life. But eventually, the teams had made it back. Did they stay the course? Have they discovered the earth's shape, the purpose of their journey? Or were they swayed into life's illusions and got off the track? Can you trust yourself to make the right choices for your life journey and stay the course? Or would you be swayed into life illusions and miss the purpose for your life journey on earth?
That is why also we in Islam, if we truly take La ilaha illallah, end of story. Who are you then? Why are you arguing? Why are you shouting? Why are you angry? Why are you abusive?
Why are you Shia?
Why are you Shia? No, but you see, these are cultural issues and also often accidents of birth.
Yeah. Consider this. From the time of the Big Bang, the Earth's shape we know today has never, ever changed. This reality remains consistent regardless whether or not our driving team had discovered it. So is the Creator behind it all remain consistent regardless whether or not humankind discover that reality.
The essence of the whole thing is one. What contains it all is one. But wherever there is a message, it comes in a language. Language has a culture. And that culture has got in it people who see their ego and they want to use that to enhance their ego.
Yeah.
And instead of giving up the ego to the higher self, and instead of moving from lower consciousness to pure consciousness, they enhance the lower consciousness and make it into a monument. And as we know, it doesn't last. And there is no week passes without some great tycoons or great dictators are, dropped in the dustbin. And yet, Rumi, others, the great saints, what happened there is that those beings moved away from the lower consciousness to the higher.
The true teacher cannot teach you anything, but can only remind you of what, on some level, you already know.
This term of having been awakened or having arrived or having self-realized, it implies there has been a transcendental shift in consciousness. Meaning, you are not only acting within limited, personal, conditioned consciousness. You now actually have a breakthrough to higher consciousness, God consciousness. Before you do anything, before you say anything, there is a flash, without you being aware of it as such, of taqwa. Would you stand by what you're saying all the time? Is it from your heart? Or is it because you want a reputation, you were showing off? So, if you like, self-realization means soul realization.
Yeah.
Which can only occur also if you are more and more aware of the lower. In other words, in this Ask Academy, Academy for Self-Knowledge, you will only know the higher self by caring for, grooming, being watchful of the lower self. The higher self is already there. Allah is already there. Where is it that He is not?
That's very interesting, something here to say. It's about in-house cleaning.
Precisely.
And clean whatever garbage you have there.
Precisely.
You find the diamond.
And also, everybody's garbage is everybody's garbage. You're not the same. So therefore, I can't clean your sewage system. You have created it. It is your it is your cocoon.
So it's not a matter of rising up to the higher.
No such thing. The higher is already there.
It's basically clean the lower self.
And the higher is there.
Think it over. Can you trust yourself to make the right choices? What could be more important to understand than the purpose for your existence?